Okay, in this video we're just going to have a look at how we can update the firmware on the Rode Wireless Go 2, and this generally works across the Rode Wireless Go mics, but we're using the Rode Wireless Go 2. So we've essentially already got Rode Central installed, but if you don't have this, obviously you can download it for Mac or Windows. And also there's a mobile version of it available that you can use for iOS or Android, so you can get it for almost any platform. So if you already have it installed, I'm doing this on a Mac, so essentially what would happen on the Mac is it will just give you a prompt and say update your software, but we'll come in and we'll do it as if we don't have it. So if we click on the Mac one, it works in essentially the same way. You know, if you update it, it'll download the package. You can open up the package, hit continue again. Obviously you can read the license, install, and then you might just be prompted for a password to install it. And then it's just going to go in, it's going to overwrite the package that we had in there, or if you're installing it from fresh, obviously it will just install the new application. And then we jump into applications. And you know, you can pull this into your dock or however you want to use it. I just have it sort of sat with some other audio programs that I use, but you can see it's here. So Rode Central, double click it, and you'll be able to see here. So for now, this is the latest app version 2.0.28, and this is the update that gives us direct WAV access to audio files. And it's got a few other camera presets and things like that in there, so it's worth kind of doing. You can see up as well here, I've got the Video Mic Go 2 plugged in, and that's actually what I'm talking on right now, so that's kind of why that's there. But what we'll do is we'll plug in our receiver to start with, and you can see down here, one other device connected. And here it is, this is our Wireless Go 2 receiver RX, and we've got an update here so you can see it's ready to go. And be sure that you are checking the battery. If the battery's too low on the unit, generally it will tell you to charge it first, because obviously if it's too low and the update hangs for a bit, you don't want to get stuck with kind of corrupt firmware partway through. So you can see it's going from 2.2.3 to 2.4.6. So we can hit update. And essentially we're going to need to do all of them. You don't have to do the receiver first, you can do it in any order that you like, but you'll need to make sure that you're doing them all, which we are going to do. So I'll just say yes, I've got them all, I've got them in the table in front of me, and then it's just going to go through. These generally don't take very long, you know, less than a minute usually for these firmware updates. They tend to be fairly small. And you can see it's pretty much wrapped up already. It's quite a quick update. So then once we get the checkbox on that, okay, it's rebooting, and then it's installing some other bits on there. Okay, and then you can see it's gone in. We're on the latest version in the green. Got the checkbox, so we can actually eject that receiver now. And we can go on and we'll plug in our other units. So I've got the two transmitters. Like I say, you know, if you're using the single version, obviously you've only got one of these to do, but I've got two of them, so you can see. Okay, and this bit here, we've got the option to update or backup and update, and this will actually save all of our files onto the machine as well. So actually what I'm probably going to do is you can see it says it's going to delete all the recordings on there. So essentially we do want to save them. I mean, you might not want to save the recordings on there. They are just backup tracks, you know, they get burnt into your video file, so it might be that you don't need to, but I'm just going to press yes anyway, you know, just so we don't lose anything. And then essentially it's just going to save those into a folder on the desktop for me, and it's going to update this. And you can see that this is taking a little bit longer because we've got the we've actually got the audio tracks from the mic being backed up onto the machine. So it's not just the firmware update that's running at the moment. We've got the it's offloading the backup. So again, just make sure your battery's got you know, it's not like completely dead, because it's you really don't want this happening halfway through. You're going to end up with corrupt firmware, and you're probably going to end up losing all the files that are on the unit. So it's not the best of ideas. It's worth just spending, you know, like half an hour just charging it up to a decent state before doing it. And you can see it's done its reboot already, and it's ready to kind of finalize the installation. And then that one is done, it's ejected itself, it's reset, and then we can take that out, and then we've got our last unit to do. And obviously this is much of the same. It's going to ask me to back up the files again, which is fine. They're mostly all the same for mine. There are a couple where I do split recording, so I will back them up. And I'll speed this bit up now because it's the same again, you know, it's just backing up the files. It's going to run the exactly the same update that it did on the last one. Okay, and the update's just wrapping up now. We've got the mic has restarted itself, and it's just about to finish up, eject, and then just restart itself. Now, that one did actually take quite a few minutes compared to the first one. I don't know if that's because I've used that mic a lot more than the other one. I do tend to shoot single mic stuff as well as dual mic things, so it might be that just had more files on it. I don't know if it was that or because it was the second one that was sort of dropping files on top of the backups in there as well. But either way, everything now is up to date and ready to go. So you can kind of see if we plug them back in, or you know, if we plug this unit back in, we've got it's up to date. And then take that one out, plug in one of the transmitters, and you can see our recordings aren't available because we basically offloaded them all in the update, but we have backed them up, so you can kind of see that they're not there. But obviously we've not lost them because we saved them, so we can go through and we can set to always record or backup record, or set it. Actually, this is a new feature on this one. You can actually set it up so that the button on the top of the transmitter can be set so that you can press it so that it actually starts the recording and stops the recording. I think I tend to usually have it on for always, but for now I'm just going to switch that one off, and I usually just go in and tweak these as to kind of how I want them for each time. So let's just plug the other one in, have a quick look at it. And you can see again we've got no recordings on there, but if we jump into our cog, we've got our options in there. So for this one, I've actually got it set up so that the button creates markers on there. But again, you can go through and you can kind of do it how you want. You can have it to mute them or whatever, really. But yeah, that's it really. So you can see all of our devices are now up to date, and it's a fairly simple process. Like I say, you can do that on a Mac, a PC. You can do it on the apps as well. If you do it on the mobile apps, just make sure the mobile app's up to date with the latest version. Sometimes there's a tiny discrepancy with iOS and Android getting the updates, and you know, the same in Mac and PC, but they generally all come out as like a kind of a batch, and when they announce it, it's generally there. Okay, and we'll actually just quickly go through how you can get those recordings back onto the device if you want to. I mean, for me, I'm not worried about doing this. It's not something I'm particularly worried about, but you've got these backed up. Like I say, if you do need them, you can come back in. The best way to do this when you offload them, they will just end up on your device, on your desktop, as a file. You can come into the settings up in the cog here, go to local recordings, and then this is just like a file manager kind of pop up. Mine came up on the desktop and they were called backup. And then you can basically just select one of these. This was the first update I did. This was the second. So both of my transmitters, and you can basically just click on that. And then when we go back, you can see here we've got these local recordings available, and the same again, you know, if these weren't the right ones, you can just jump into the second folder that we had, open it up, and you can see there now we've got these local recordings. So they're all there, you can export them all out. Like I say, in the new version of the app, it's actually just plug and play, which we'll cover in another video, but essentially you can just plug the device in now and you can drag files straight off it, so it's just a much easier process. So yeah, hopefully this video's helped. If it has, please give it a like. If you want to see more content like this, then please subscribe.